only thing that makes me stress is like I always think of Saipan. I always think about home.
Service, sacrifice, and resilience. Guardians on the Front Lines is an oral history project exploring and preserving the stories, perspectives, and experiences of U.S. military veterans and first responders who call the Marianas home.
Welcome to Service, Sacrifice, and Resilience, Guardians on the Front Lines. I'm Catherine Perry, and our guest today is Mr. Juan Camacho Reyes. He is a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, born and raised on the island of Saipan in the U.S. Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. He joined the U.S. Army in 1972 and was honorably discharged in 1978 with the rank of sergeant. He's married to Petra Chauffeur Reyes, and they have 5 children, many grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild, another on the way as of this taping. Mr. Reyes, buenas.
Buenas.
Suzus Wasi, and thank you for taking time to chat with us today about your experience in the military. Yeah. Maybe we could start off, how is it you joined the military? How old were you, and when did it happen?
Well, I was 19 years old at that time when I joined the military. So.
And how is it you joined? Did you volunteer or did you get a letter?
I get the letter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in Guam, and I was a green card holder at that time, and when I was visiting my brother, then all of a sudden I received a letter. You got only 14 days to report to the naval station. So I said, whoa.
So what did you do when you got the letter?
Well, I flew over to Saipan, and I tell my mom that, there's something serious that I have to leave her back, and I told her that I'm going to join the military. She's okay.
She was okay with it?
Okay, yeah.
What did she say? Do you remember?
She said that go ahead and I'll pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's the last word that I got from her before I joined the military.
How did you feel at that time when it wasn't what you expected and all of a sudden you were going to be in the military?
When I obtained my green card, they already informed me that they might call me in. Because at that time, I think Vietnam War is still ongoing. But luckily that when I joined in the military, instead of sending me to Vietnam, they sent me to Germany. Yeah.
So you had a choice actually of which branch you could choose. Why did you choose the Army?
Because my brother was, in the Army. So I just want to, I don't know. I just feel that, I want to also join the Army.
Did you have any expectations, or what did you think it was going to be like joining the military before you got in?
Well, at that time, the Vietnam War is still ongoing.
Yeah.
So when I joined the military, I thought that, they're going to also send me to Vietnam, but it was very fortunate that they don't send me there. What I heard about, if they're not gonna send you to combat is like if you're the only boy in the family, chances they will send you to combat.
Where was your brother?
He's in Guam, but he went to Korean War, so I guess he's lucky that he survived. So yeah.
So you had an interesting experience when you went to basic training. Where did you go to basic, and what happened?
I went to Fort Worth, California. But, it was really something that I wasn't expecting. That when I first arrived, they just sent me right there to the barracks. So I slept, that night, and the next day, another sergeant came and he asked me, he said, "Are you Mr. Reyes?"
Reyes?
Yeah. I said,
Not Reyes.
yeah. I said, yeah, but my name is Reyes. I said, "Well, just follow me." So I went down, I followed him, and I went inside the office, and I saw this first sergeant was sitting there, and I don't recognize him. I don't, know him. So he just told me, say, "Story, just sit down over there." And he talked to me in Chamorro.
Wow.
So touching it up. And then I look at him and said, "Wow." And then he asked me do I know him? I said, "No." And he explained that he's Martin Magnolia. He told me the mom, so I said, "Wow, the mom, it was my neighbor in District 1. I know." So I think that's what I recall. I recall back that, I remember that they mentioned it. They mentioned that she have a son that is in the military, so that's click right there that I know this guy.
You know the family, you know the mom. Yeah.
Well, so he said, just do what the military want you to do. So I ended up with basic training, 8 weeks of basic training on my, California, Florida, it's a little bit chilly, it's a little bit cold for me. So, but it's a nice weather. I enjoy it.
Did you serve with any other Chamorros or Carolinians or people from the Marianas?
Not even in the basic training. I just saw a couple of guys from Saipan, but we're not in the same company. So I knew this person, so sometimes we meet at the cafeteria and we just talk, But after that basic training, they sent me to Fort Bragg, North Carolina that's where my first station. And then after that, they sent me to Fort Lewis, Tacoma, Washington, and I served another, I think, 1 year there. So, and then after that, they sent me to Germany. I stayed in Germany for almost 7 years.
Was it much of a culture shock coming from Saipan and number one, going to California, number two, joining the military?
Yeah, there is a cultural impact in there, especially the language, English. At that time, back in '72, I graduated from high school, but you know, my English is not really good at that because, you know, back then most of our teachers, they're locals, you know, until before I graduated in Hapod, there's a Peace Corps group that they came, and then that's the time I have a different teachers like Americans, you know, so I learn more from there.
When you got to basic training and started your military life, do you feel there was anything about how you were raised as a Chamorro, anything about the culture or the island here that helped you in your military, shall we say, start off?
Nothing at all. It's a different environment, especially military. It's a different, you know, training, and even the way they treat you in the military, you know. They always say, God damn it, wrong, you know. And, you know, and if you don't run properly, they'll tell you to get down. Give me 50%, you know. And all this, it's a different kind of feeling when you're people telling you something that, you know, never happened here in the island. Eh? So that's the only impact that I get, is that people have to tell me what to do, and you know, in the harsh way. Eh?
How did
Force you to say something or force you to do something. That's what I little bit bothered.
How did you feel?
Well, there's a different feeling that I never have that kind here in the islands, man. That people tell you to run.
I don't think many people have had that experience,
Yeah.
no matter where they're from. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about after basic training and when your, shall we say, military life started full force. What are the different jobs, or as they say, classifications that you had during your time of service?
Well, after the basic training, and you know, I went through also to advanced training. You know, there's another special training that, you know, I went through. So after that, I'm seeing the difference between when I was in basic training and what's called that, it's already in the military. So I started to calm down, you know, and just do what I have to do and do my job, and that's it, you know. But I enjoyed after a while. You know.
What was the job you had?
I am a recovery sergeant, you know, or specialist. Né?
They have a code for that, right?
I'm operating a, you know, special kind of tank. It's a recovery tank, they call it M88 tank. That you only use that tank to recover any disabled tank or vehicle. And that's my job to, if they radio out, they'll come to the location and just pull back any vehicle that, need to be recovered. So that's my job actually.
And you were saying that they call it 63
Foxtrot.
63 Foxtrot.
Yeah.
So when you say that, like anybody in the Army kind of already knows what this Army recovery specialist does. What would you say was the most difficult thing about this classification you had or this responsibility?
Well, I cannot answer right away of those things, what your question, but there's a lot of difficult things that, we do in the Army, and so I really can't answer you. Sorry.
No, that's fine. But you do have a story about the most difficult recovery you've ever done. Tell us about that.
At one time we had training out in the desert, like right there in Fort Bliss, Texas. So we tried to recover like one tank that was in the quicksand. It's in the desert, there's sometimes you encounter quicksand. So that tank would just sink down in that mud. So we also had a training like that before we go out on the field. So all my men, they already know what they're doing. So we know how to hook it up and pull him out. So, but it's very difficult because, anything that fall down in a quicksand, it's kind of hard to get out. So we have to be very careful doing that kind of activities.
Can you tell us more about the vehicle, the tank that you operated? Because it's a pretty impressive vehicle from the way you've described it.
Yeah. Well, actually, according to the military, I think that's the biggest tank the military have. It's I think that tank is about 98,000 pounds.
98,000 pounds.
98,000 pounds. So it's very, very heavy because it's solid metal. But the only thing there is there's no canyon or anything to shoot except for my M50 machine gun that mount in there. That's all we have.
So it's more a recovery, because it's obviously a recovery vehicle. Yeah. Is this kind of work ever dangerous? I mean, I'm thinking if you're driving a tank that big, pulling out huge tanks also, there's a potential for some danger here.
Well, I cannot express more about it because I've never been in the front line, never been in the war to actually doing those kind of work. But in America, it's like when Fort Bliss, Texas, there's a lot of training, the military had. They always maneuver out in the desert or something. So that's the only thing I encounter is that when that tank that's sunk down in the quicksand. So that's the only things that I have difficult to work on.
You were sharing before we started our interview about the capacity or the role you guys would play in, for example, replacing an engine in a tank that had gone down in the field. And could you explain that to us and really the speed with which you guys were able to help execute this kind of what sounds to me very difficult, but
You know, in the Army, especially when you're in that position where, you know, the recovery is that we encounter a lot of like maneuver in the States. Like we had to, you know, the disabled tank, you know, the tank that is broke down, and we have to replace the engine because the engine problem. So we just call in the company that, you know, have those engine, and if it comes, then we're the one to take out the engine and replace. And you know, good thing that we have all those training, and we can actually replace the engine within an hour.
that's amazing.
Yeah, because we had the training, so we know what we're doing. So that's why the speed is more important. I mean, very important during, especially if there's a conflict, there's a war. You know, the speed is very important. You have to go down there and replace the engine in 1 hour. It's really good.
So you spent most of your years in service overseas. Can you tell us about that and how you adjusted when you got there?
You know, I was expected, you know, I'm gonna be sending to Vietnam because the Vietnam War is still going at the time. But instead of, they sent me to Germany. And I have no reason why they sent me over there. It's just that, you know, I think the US, they just want to protect the West Germany, because, you know, at that time, I think the East Berlin is still controlled by the Russia. So I think that's the reason that they sent me over there. It's to protect the German, the West German. But I have a good experience when I got there, because I have to go to school to learn German, and you know, it's really interesting, you know, to learn another language, especially if you're from Saipan. You know, the German actually was here in Saipan back then, but you know.
Early 1900s, yeah. So how's your German today?
Still not really good. I can understand when they're talking, but you know, if they talk slow, then I can catch what actually they're saying. But you know how when they do the 100 miles per hour, you know, then I'm lost.
Yeah. What was it like serving in, was it Berlin that you were in, or?
No.
Okay. But given that tension and the time of communism, I mean, did you feel that? Did you feel the Cold War serving in Germany, and what was it like?
Yeah, because you know, I'm on the west working, and Russian is on the east. So at that time, still the East Berlin is still controlled by the Russian. So sometimes we put security guard on certain area they call Hof, and they send us there quite a few times to just secure that area. On our side, west, we have no fence, nothing. It's just an open field, and we be there with our gun. But in the east, there's a fence, okay?
So there was like an area in between, almost like a no man's land, and then you guys.
No, it's just East Berlin, they divided by the river.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I can see quite a few distance that there's a fence, the first fence and the second fence. But between the fence, they put dogs. The dogs that they have no friends. No.
Vicious.
If anybody gonna, trying to escape out, that dog will kill them. Yeah. Even the military, they cannot touch that dog. All they do is just feed them. That's what I found out about that. He's pretty.
So the communists had put these dogs in between the fences to prevent anybody from leaving.
But I have a couple of, story about that area. Because the East Berlin, the people they still want to go down to the west. So a lot of people, they get killed just for trying to escape out from that place. But
did you ever witness any of that?
one time, the gliding.
Paraglider. Mm-hmm.
At that time, I saw how they, there's somebody that they trying to glide out because they go up to the tall building, and they're trying to glide out, and they just shoot the person down. It's very hard to escape on that area, that East Berlin, Russia. So it's hard to escape. Even like I said, they're trying to glide out, but they still shoot them down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my experience there when I first got there in Germany.
Do you feel that even though you were serving in Germany and not the Vietnam War, which of course was so atrocious, do you feel you still made any personal sacrifices to serve in the U.S. Army? And what were those sacrifices that you made?
And I don't have anything like that in me. Is sacrifice. I just have to do it because you're in the military.
You must have chosen to re-enlist, correct? Or was it like 6 years? What made you decide to re-enlist?
Because I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have only like 6 months left to get out the army. But when I got married, at that time, I have to process a lot of paper for my wife.
Who's from Germany?
Yeah. And so I decided to stay back for another year so I can process my wife's paper for Saipan. But, and I got out. When I got out of the army, I come to Saipan before my wife. So she had a really hard time coming to Saipan because, she cannot speak fluent English, just because she's very young. She thought that English is not important. So she didn't study much in Germany. So she had a hard time when she coming to Saipan by herself and my daughter Diane.
Was it hard for her just to like travel here, like through the immigration, or?
Not immigration, it's just traveling. She never fly in her life. She never fly in a plane.
Oh.
And she's so young. And what happened, she, she told me everything about when she's coming. She flew from Germany to New York.
Okay.
So, she don't know what she's doing, really honest. And she had a really hard time when she went to New York. I think they tell her to get down, go to the bus, and catch the plane next. You know how big is the?
Maybe another terminal, or yeah.
So she wrote. I don't know. She don't really understand English, but she went in there with Diana in the bus, and she was telling me all her stories, like, in the bus, she's standing there and we holding Diana, but the people are so rude, they don't even offer her to sit down on the chair. She will stand there all this time until she come to us. She don't even know where she's going to. So somehow she managed to call Saipan. So I told her, say, okay, maybe just wait there or try to find a way to just get another plane. So she did, but I was ready to fly to New York. Yeah, that's that story when she's coming. Like a really hard time coming to Saipan.
So your oldest child was born while you were still in the service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was born in Germany, Diana.
What do you think was the biggest benefit of being in the military as a family man?
Right now or
Back in those days,
those days?
in your experience?
My experience there when I was in Germany is the PX. Yeah.
I think most people would agree that's still one of the best things. Yeah. What was the PX like back then in the 70s in Germany?
They, when I was there, they issuing us a coupon, like, they'll say how many cigarettes you can buy and all those things, and they'll punch it out. If you buy one carton, they'll punch it out. And I think at that time it's only 4 cartons a month. So you have to know how to, to control your smoke. But it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Did you have to make any difficult choices?
That's a good question. When I was in the military, or
Yeah.
just I cannot express that right now. Sorry.
No, that's great. I mean, it sounds like the military was good to you in a lot of ways.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's good, It's just that in the military, it's the best way is when you have to make more rank. Like, if you're just a private, you catch a lot of hell. But if you gain to a sergeant, then it's a different story. You have more enjoyment if you become sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time I was sergeant, so I enjoy it.
Why did you decide to not continue in military service?
Because I got married. So there's still a good opportunity even if you married and you're in the army. There's a place for housing for married couples. But I just don't see feel that time to continue the army. I'd rather come back to Siberia.
Why?
I just miss my Siberia, Yeah.
Really, there's no place like home, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Even up to this time, there's a lot of opportunity out there to go anywhere. Like if you go to school in some place, it's still you wanna come back to Siberia. Yeah.
Would you recommend military service to others? Other young people?
Yes. It's for this disciplinary way. Like a lot of kids here, they just, sometimes they don't respect some other people or they don't respect their parents So discipline is what I see in the military. It's really effective for anybody, even troublemakers or so. Except drugs. Yeah, when you're in drugs, I don't know.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Especially if they're very addictive.
I know.
Is there anything you regret about your service or anything you would have done differently?
No, I don't regret it. I enjoy it. And even until now, I'm still enjoying because I got a privilege here at the PX, so it's okay. That's why I was, sometimes I see some young guys say, why don't you guys join the military? It's gonna give you more better lives. And, you see many places like, wherever you're stationed, you see different people. It open up your mind, rather than just staying here, taking drugs. It's not good. So I suggest that maybe in the junior high school they should. I like to see some military will go there and just introduce the military. But nowadays there is film, about military, but it's not the actual process of the basic training. So.
Would you say then, kind of what you're saying about why you recommend the military is a good path to pursue? Do you feel the military molded your character in any way?
I guess, it really disciplined me to respect people and you know, because when I was young, I was, you know, like I said, I was a little bit rough too. When I was growing up, maybe I was like 14. So I was a little bit rough. Yeah, growing up in Salakanoa District 1 is a really challenging place. Yeah.
When you were in the service and you had any difficult times, like, what was your motivation to continue to do your best, continue to grow, continue to commit? Like, why did you pursue that instead of, for example, giving up? Or,
like I said, you know, in the beginning in the military, it's just the basic training is that's where people always, you know, give up. But once you in the outside the basic training, you see the difference, and you eventually you're gonna like the military. That's how I am. I thought the military was really bad, but after the basic training, and I gained rank and
benefits,
money, you know.
Was there anything stressful about your service, you feel? Anything stressful about your job or being in a strange place?
That's a really good question, stress. But the only thing that makes me stress is like, I always think of Saipan. I always think about home, you know. But like I said, once you gain rank and you become like, you know, a supervisor, and you gain rank, you can tell people what they have to do, you know, give you motivation to do more better. Yeah.
How do you think your service changed you?
Changed me?
How are you different after you got out versus when you got in?
Respect to other people, you know, especially when you're, you know, like for example, the governor or the legislature, you know, you respect those kind of people because they're
Leaders.
their rank is their leaders, né? So you have to respect them regardless of something that.
Would you?
Even if you don't like the congressman, you still respect him.
Because of their rank, so to say. So, Mr. Reyes, would you say you were a respectful young man when you joined the military?
When I first joined?
Yes.
Well, even like I said, before I joined the military, I was kind of a little bit rough.
Okay.
Yeah, rough. But after, you know, I joined the military, I changed, you know.
Yeah.
I respect people, you know. But before I joined the military, you know, especially some of the guys they call leaders, you know, they always use me. You know, when I was young, they used me. Let me tell you this story. Like at that time, there's a lot of Coast Guard people. You know. And so my leader, for example, we want to fight. You know, the military,
The Coast Guard?
Coast Guard. So they'll send me to the guy, and I'm the one gonna ask him if he want to fight.
Oh, yes.
I was
Okay.
yeah, still small, and the guy the big guy will come and just look at me, you know, what? And At that time, I only, hey Joe, you know what, want to fight? The guy said, just looking at me. I said, oh, you better go home. But if I ask the guy if he want to fight, and then, you know, he just ignore me, then I push him. And then once he turn around and trying to hit me, then all my bigger gangster.
Your backup.
Yeah, backup. They'll come and get this guy. That's how my story when I was young, you know. A little bit stupid.
You could be manipulated,
Yeah.
maybe. So the military taught you respect,
Oh, sure.
is what I'm getting from you.
Yeah.
Just want to ask you a few more questions about how life was when you got out of the military. Do you feel that your service and the training you received at the job that you did helped you after you, when you decided to exit the military? In what way?
When you're in the military, you go to a lot of classes, and you know they teach you about leadership. So I learned a lot about leadership. So when I got out, you know, I tried to apply much in here to a leader, you know, leadership. But when I first got here, it's a different, you know, Saipan is still beginning to improve, you know.
Early Commonwealth, 1978, yeah.
So it's a different, you know, I lost that leadership school. It's a different, especially over here, it's like cultural.
Connection, family,
yeah.
yes.
So it's different.
Did you have culture shock when you came back to Saipan?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fit right back in. Yeah.
Because I still can speak my, you know, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have no cultural feeling.
When you were in the military, you probably had a vision of what your life would be like, either if you continued in the military or if you got out. Do you feel that you were able to fulfill your dreams and expectations that you had at that time?
That's a good question, but sometimes, like, you know, when I was still in the military, I have a dream, you know, what to do if I come back to Saipan and all this. But when I got married, it changed everything.
It was a new dream.
Yeah. So I just go with the wind. You know, whatever I encounter, I try to, you know, what you call that, just go with the
Flow. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to now? Where is the flow taking you?
I just wanna, you know, enjoy life over here, but I have a dream, you know, about my mermaid caves. I don't know if you ever been in mermaid cave.
No, not yet.
I have a dream.
What is Mermaid Cave?
It's caves and I construct a mermaid statue. There, that's why they call that Mermaid Cave.
And where is it at?
It's in Marti, San Juan area, close to Calavera Cave.
What is your dream?
At that time, when I was still in Germany, I always dreamed like I want to do some cultural thing down here, like to build pavilions and invite people, like like people like they making like marmar or
Like a cultural tour or something like that? Yeah.
because at that time back then there's a lot of Japanese tourists. At that time there's about 88,000 tourists a year coming to Saipan. 88,000.
In the 70s, yeah.
Yeah. So there's still a lot of tourists coming to my place, and because sometimes there's a group from Okinawa, and they're the one that coming to Saipan to collect human bones, the Japanese bone, and they're the one actually remembered my case, because this old lady was telling me that she was maybe 14 years old when during the war, she ended up on my cave. But because the army is starting to chase them toward the north, so she ended up staying in my cave. And she really enjoyed when she came one time to collect human bones. So she's really a nice Okinawan old lady. I don't know if she's still alive. But she's really nice.
That's interesting. You have a connection to the Cold War from your service, and then you also have a connection to World War II through the property that you own in Marpi. If was something that you would want the community to know or to understand about your experience being a service member, serving in the U.S. military, what would you want the community to know about this job, this kind of service?
Well, actually, to be in the service, there's a lot of opportunity in the service even right now. Schooling, privilege, like even right now the PX, that's a privilege for being in the military. Even me, I'm still going there. Maybe that's about it. But there's a lot of opportunity, especially for school. There's a lot of opportunity when you get out of the military, but you have to search for it, you have to search for whatever they offer you at this time. Yeah, that's fun.
I really want to thank you for your time and for sharing your story. Is there anything else you'd like to add that maybe I didn't ask you about?
Maybe we can postpone this time, and maybe we'll do it another time. Yeah, I can digest more better, or
I'm not sure we're going to have another opportunity. Do you want to take a coffee break and then? What is in your heart really about related to service and sacrifice and resilience and your service? Is there anything else you want to say?
All I'm going to say is that every individual has different kind of, perspective in their life. So mine is totally different than anybody else. I'm just telling about me, my story. But it'd be wise if you can invite other individuals that still probably still able to do some kind of, because there's every individual, they have their different kind of experience, yeah? So I don't know if you can pick anybody other military guy that you can interview here. I have to search. The only person that I tried to recommend, but he died already, David Peter. We were together in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Yeah.
My godfather.
Really? Wow. So, yeah, we were together in Fort Bragg. So, I like the guy. It's really cool. Yeah.
What did you like about him, or how did it feel to serve there with another person from Saipan?
I know David from even before we joined the military. I met him around and we talked. And the thing I like about him, because he's a singer, he likes to sing, so, sometimes I join him singing. Just in we go to the beach and we have get together there, we just sing, when we were young, and that's about what I know about Dave.
Just a good friendship.
Yeah. Because especially when we both stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, we always hang around on the weekend. So.
Well, I want to thank you very much for your time today and for sharing your story with us, and for allowing our community the opportunity to hear your experience. Thank you very much, Mr. Reyes. This has been Sacrifice, Service, and Resilience Guardians on the Front Line. Our guest today has been Juan Camacho Reyes, sharing about his experience as a 6-year veteran in the U.S. Army during the 1970s. I'm Catherine Perry, and we will see you again on the next episode.